Zambia, ash circle cultivation. A unique form of agriculture is practiced in the northeastern part of Zambia using ash circles for planting. The local name for it is chitemene. It has been used for at least 200 years by the natives to increase the relatively low productivity of the savanna soils. From the air, the circles appear to be centered on a large tree, but in actuality they may range in size from a small circle about 12 feet in diameter to large ones over 120 feet or so in size. The illustration here shows that the piled up branches have not been burned according to the expected plan. Following tradition, all circles are supposed to be burned at the same time on a signal given by the tribal chief. Why the discrepancy shown here cannot be established by an outsider. The photo illustrates the differences between the small and the large circles made of branches piled up to a height of about 4 feet. Due to the open canopy of the savanna woodland, it may be necessary to cut branches from a dozen trees or more to make a large circle. The lopping off of the branches requires considerable climbing skills, and the young men compete in the task. There are even songs praising those who venture out to the furthest branches and hopefully do not crash down to severe injury or death. The branches are cut from every type of tree using the native-made axe, which is lightweight and efficient. Regardless how much of the canopy is cut, the tree will regenerate fully, and within 25 years or so, the process could be repeated. The larger and fairly straight poles will be saved for building the thatched huts, granaries, and other structures. All the cutting is done by the men. The seasonal work to cut enough branches for the desired circles will take up to 2 months. Branches from smaller trees may be also cut if there are not enough large ones. In that case, the work is easier, but the full regeneration will be set back by many years. That does not seem to concern the people, as the woodlands are extensive and could be used that way for practically unlimited time. A small circle requires less work but will provide less usable ash cover to support the crop. The circle will be used for a maximum of 3 years. By the time the fertility gained from the ash is exhausted and new circles are made. Some individuals may use the branches from only a single tree, where even the trunk has been cut relatively low, but regeneration will follow. Each family will usually have several ash circles, except where a large one may be made due to the decision of the leading family member. The branches cut here will be most likely used to build a large circle. The Bemba, the tribe using this type of agricultural practice, are friendly, but asking questions about the practice, even when using a good interpreter, may not provide the answer to the inquisitive foreigner, who will appear for a day or two, then disappear who knows where. This large circle may present a sorry sight to the outsider, but it will be planted and yield a reasonable amount under normal conditions. In the first year, practically all the circles are planted to millet, a hardy plant preferred by the people for making mush and also considerable amounts of beer. Some burning, probably by a careless or inexperienced person, has reduced the fence built around the circle and also the branches already cut but not yet piled. Fencing is often done around a large circle, but it requires much additional labor. A large garden planted to millet and well fenced. The fencing is done largely to prevent wild animals, including some feral pigs, from destroying the crops. But it will not prevent some theft, as the circles are some distance away from settlements. An older man surveying his millet garden. The seemingly haphazard growth of the crop is rather typical, as weeding is seldom, if ever, done. The fence was not built well for whatever reason, or perhaps this is the second year for a millet crop, hence the termites have done their work. Some large gardens definitely look much better than others, and the yield will be good. Unfortunately, the generally poor storage technique applied will cause a loss of 15 or more % of the stored millet. In spite of advice to build better granaries, traditional structures persist. A well-tended, fairly large circle looks impressive from the air. Additional gardens of the family will be scattered in an area of several acres or so to reduce the expected losses due to whatever reasons. The regeneration of the cut woodland indicates that the garden is 2 years old. By the third year, the increasing exhaustion of fertility leads to favoring cassava, shown here, which also could be turned into beer, but it is mostly starch and not as nutritious as the millet. Occasional, very small circles of millet are found here and there in the savanna. The regeneration for the vegetation indicates that it is a second-year crop, and while the yield from the patch is little, it is better than nothing. Tradition will perpetuate the continuance of this type of cultivation, which requires only a modest amount of work and guarantees survival, though certainly not prosperity.